What is cooking, YouTube? I'm Casserole J, and we finally got the big man himself, Jason Voorhees, the Friday the 13th license. We did it. This is the end. Unfortunately, we didn't even get that. We got a legally distinct Jason, which, I'm happy that we got Jason at all. And because of that, I played the PTB, and I wanted to talk a bit about how I felt, because I played the PTB for a couple hours. I tried playing against Jason, I tried the Survivor's perks, I tried Jason's perks, I tried playing Jason. So yeah, there's not a whole lot to cover, so this is probably going to be a bit shorter. I'm going to talk about what I liked, features that I liked, and things that I'm sad that they missed. This chapter is the definition for me of really safe, where it felt like they didn't really do anything too crazy, and that's kind of why the chapter, in my opinion, is a bit of a fall off. So let's actually get into the stuff that I like first, because otherwise behavior won't watch this video unless you absolutely glaze them first. Let's talk about the most important thing, Jason himself. Now, that thing at the start wasn't really equipped. We did actually get a different version of Jason. It's still kind of Jason Voorhees, but it's a Jason that came from Greenville Square. Those of you who know, that's a kind of a universe in DBD where we've got a lot of characters. And Jason apparently got into the realm because he wanted to punch out the unknown, and he followed him in, which honestly, I think that's probably one of the most Jason things they could have done. I did like that. I thought that was kind of a cool lore entry, but once again, it's not the actual Jason, so it's just like a different universe subgenre version of Jason, I guess. I don't know. It's really weird. I'm not really a big lore guy, so I don't really know how that works. But yeah, so we got legally distinct Jason. This is Jackson from Thursday the 17th. Like they can't have any illegal ties. They can do what they want, but that also means no Pamela Voorhees voice lines. And then, it's confusing because everybody knows it's Jason. It's just like the license holders are acting like it's not the Jason. So I don't know. It's a whole big thing. I did like Jason's design initially, and the more I played him and the more I looked at him, like just his visual design, he looks a little off. There's something in his hip movement where I don't know if this is just the PTB. Obviously, I'm going to be nitpicking a lot of stuff because this is the PTB and we're supposed to give our feedback so that behavior will actually change things. But his hip movements looked a little weird. I don't know if that's just like an animation thing or if it's supposed to be because he's so big and stocky that's like whatever, but I thought that was really weird, and maybe I'm just reading into it too much. Yeah, I was like, this is like noticeable to me, so hopefully that gets changed. He does look a little bland. He looks like basically the Fortnite version, but if they turn the saturation and brightness all the way down. Other than that, I mean, the mask looks fine. It's just, it's just a classic Jason. His cosmetics actually look pretty interesting in my opinion. Some of the body pieces give him hair, and there's like a deep sea one, and it's like, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's weird that they released it all on the PTB. Like, that was, the most important part of the PTB was his new cosmetics. Yeah, let's talk about the Jason gameplay, and I'm gonna kind of do an overview. I'm not gonna go into crazy detail about like the perks for either side, because I just want to give my overview on how this chapter felt. Jason felt really safe, I guess, for lack of a better descriptor. It's just, he felt, there's only so many powers behavior can do at this point before they make a power that's just mind warping, like bending the entire rules of the game. Like, we get a second nurse, so he does have a lot of recycled things from other killers. Naturally, that makes sense, but I do think he's very similar to probably like 4 characters we have in the game. He's kind of a mix, which, that's been almost every release of a killer that we've gotten in the past few years. It's just been a mix of 2 others and then some with some unique thing. But for Jason, I'm gonna say thematically, I really liked his power. I saw a lot of people complaining about how he's throwing javelins. They're just like spears and stuff like that. I mean, in his own game, he was throwing spears and knives in the Friday the 13th official game, and I'm pretty sure in the movies he throws multiple things to kill people, so I don't know why everyone was getting so like hung up on that. Because I was like, I feel like this is actually the most lore accurate thing he'd do, is using whatever he can to kill everybody. And how they did this projectile for him is interesting, is there's 2 different types. One you can grab off the hook, like you rip it off the hook and you throw it at people, and the other are piles of broken generators that spawn around the map. And This felt really smooth. Like, you could just run up really quickly, grab it, no slowdown or anything. So mid-chase, it would take like a few seconds, but you could just yoink a hook off the hook and just go straight back to the chase. I really like that. I was worried they were going to make it like Huntress reload. I think now that we have a character that can do that, can literally just walk up and insta reload mid-chase and keep on ticking. I think it's time for us to go back and look at characters like Huntress and stuff and just buff their reloading speed, man, because it's like the power creep is insane. Bro, he just walks up, looks at it, you hit space, just shink, takes it off the hook. But for Huntress, you gotta do like this 10-second diagram thing, and while half the survivors have ran away. But yeah, I really loved that that was a feature, and the fact that the hooks actually spike them. Like, the hooks have different effects, which is really cool, by the way. But at the same time, the hooks physically move them around. That is something that we don't have aside from like Wesker's throw. Like a physical ability that moves the survivor. And it's super cool. I remember seeing that and I was a little blown away. It just goes to show how much behavior holds back in the game design, because I was blown away by characters moving around. But it's just really cool that you can spear them to walls. And it's very similar to Springtrap's axe, where they're broken until they take it out. You know, you're slowed down while you're trying to... I don't mind that he's similar to other characters we have, as long as behavior goes back and addresses the characters that he power crept. I honestly think then I would not care at all. But yeah, he does have some similarities to characters that already exist. I'm okay with that, which, you know, maybe that's not popular opinion. I don't really like recycled powers either, but I feel like they actually made him different enough that I'm not mad at it. So yeah, he throws spears. He has these mini moris if you spear someone to a wall or if you spear them on the ground. So he's the first killer to have 3 moris, if I'm not mistaken. Besides, I think Vecna has technically 3 different ones. I don't know. Super cool that he has 3 moris. Very fitting of Jason. They're really grody too, like the one you stomp on the survivor's head and you rip the guts out. And the other, you spear them into the wall, and as far as I can tell, they stay there for the rest of the match. Oh! Speared into the wall. Super, super nasty stuff, but I'm a big fan of it. Once again, super fitting of Jason. I feel like we can all agree. That's just like very Jason core. This is the PTB, so they're probably unfinished, but I did notice, like, the animations are very wonky when it comes to Jason, not only for his moris, but his hook grabs, he's very unpolished looking right now. He's got a lot of stutters with his animation, and, like, a lot of it is super unsatisfying. Like, his M1 is probably one of my least favorite M1 animations in the game. I don't know, I really hate it. Hopefully he gets addressed more before he goes to live. They have multiple weeks. They put this PTB back so far so that they could actually really change stuff, I think. So hopefully they kind of polish up his animations, make them a little more smooth, because right now it just looks super awkward. But yeah, that's not the biggest problem. I was having a lot of issues with audio, not even just with Jason's power, just throughout the match. Like, the audio would randomly go super quiet, and it was really weird. They added a new F1 button so that you could look at like a bite-sized version of the killer's power, which is amazing. I mean, there's no reason not to have that. It's kind of crazy to me to think that majority of the people who play haven't completely memorized how all the killers work, because I did that like a year ago. So, and I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just really surprised we still have players in the game that genuinely don't know how a killer's power works. I don't know, maybe I'm the weirdo. But yeah, I think it's just a good feature, because why not have that? You know, we need stuff like that, so it's like literally no reason not to have it. So I thought that was like an interesting little change. Hopefully they bring that to live. What else? I didn't test any of the aura customizations. That's really the only other thing we got. Oh yeah, the survivor perks. So, okay, well, first, Jason's perks. We're gonna talk about Jason's perks since I was talking about Jason. They're garbage. Yeah, I see basically no reason to run these perks over any other perks. And it's like, you can't expect every new perk to be meta-defining and change the whole game. But I expected a lot more from behavior, considering this is the 10th anniversary killer, the legendary Jason Voorhees. And they kind of let me down. I just don't see myself running any of the perks. One perk, the more you get blinded and stunned, and when you break pallets and get blinded, you gain tokens and you get haste. Another one, you get undetectable for 13 seconds at the start of the match, and then undetectable in endgame. So, like, I don't know. Those numbers could really be buffed up, in my opinion. And then the third one is, what is it? I mean, they were just so useless that, like, I have trouble remembering them. It's like you hook 3 survivors, and then when you break a pallet, everyone else gets 13% hindered for 3 seconds, which, by the way, if you run Vigil, just makes it like a second, basically. You're going to get no effect out of this, because 80% of people are running Vigil anyways, so just really weak perks. They tried to tie in a lot with the 13, because, you know, it's Jason, Friday the 13th, but, like, they did that too much to the point where I feel like it's neutering him more than anything else. I would buff all these perks out the wazoo. All of them. Just change all the numbers up, change all the conditions up, because they're just weak. They're so weak that when I get Jason, I'm going to probably just play Jason for him, and I'm probably never going to chuck his perks on because they're useless. Half of them you can't even use really because of the diminished returns. So if you want to do like a fun speed build, which is the only thing that a couple of them are useful for, you're out of luck because we removed that. Yeah, his perks are just utterly unforgettable. I mean, utterly forgettable, utterly unremarkable. Really disappointing, actually. That's probably one of the things I was most upset by in this PTB. Just super annoying. But the Survivors perks were great, of course, like no surprise there. Y'all know me, I play 50-50, but I'm starting to sound like a jaded killer main the way that I'm hating, because why is it the random original Survivor gets exponentially better perks than the legendary slasher Jason? So one of their perks is the killer leaves behind little light steps, and if the survivor walks in it, they become elusive. The light steps stay behind for 10 seconds. This is actually really strong in looping areas like Shack, because just being in chase, you're going to be running in circles, meaning you're just going to be getting elusive. And honestly, this messed with so many killers that I went against when I was testing this, how I'd just be able to slip out and stealth mid-chase, because all of a sudden, you can't hear footsteps, you can't hear breathing, you can't see blood, scratch marks, so it was actually really confusing, I think, for a majority of the killers. Probably saved my life 3 times at least. I think this perk was actually the most underrated one, and hopefully that gets nerfed, because you're just, in chase, you just get rewarded and get elusive for just walking, for just being in chase. I don't know. I think it's a little strong. They could nerf the numbers a little bit, or maybe not elusive exactly, because elusive is just one of the most broken status effects in the game. I feel like they could have just done like, you have no footsteps, grunts of pain, you know, something like that, which I guess isn't that useful because then they can still see your scratch marks, blood. But yeah, hopefully that gets nerfed from the PTB, because I actually think that was the most underrated perk, and I didn't see anyone talking about how strong it actually was. But, you know, it is an interesting perk. Visually, it's very pretty, and I think it really makes me wonder who the survivor is going to be, because these perks are so uniquely tied to one type of person. So I'm really interested to see who it is. I see people saying it's going to be Sable's friend from his lore, the like goth dude called Jeremy or something. Hopefully it's not him. I'm thinking it's going to be like a camp counselor original character that's like kind of a Friday the 13th character. Second perk, I believe, is called, it's like 5th gear or something. Yeah, like Luffy reference. And this one's a little crazy. When you drop a pallet and you vault over it, you gain 15% haste for 3 seconds, which is just faster than the killer for 3 seconds. And then you lift the pallet up and block it for 60 seconds. I think a lot of people were saying it's absolutely busted. I don't think it's as strong as everyone was like freaking out. Like, it was kind of a last stand where everyone's like, oh my god, last stand is gonna change the game, and then no one runs last stand because it is rarely ever changes the game. I feel like that's gonna be the same with this perk, except for the fact that this perk can happen multiple times. So I do see, if you run live in this perk, you stun the killer and then you dumb tech them, you're just picking up pallets, and this could be really strong for stuff like Shack, because as long as you get the stun, you can just theoretically vault the pallet again. So I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm kind of agreeing with the people that say it's too broken and not agreeing with them. I think everyone overreacted a bit, but at the same time, I do think it's like, it'll probably need to be nerfed or reworked a little bit, but I like the idea of it. I think it's interesting, but you know, it probably does need to see some changes, because like I said, now dumb teching is going to be meta with this perk. Everyone's going to have to be running Enduring, because what else are you going to do? We're going to have to all run Enduring for the next month and a half until everyone forgets about this perk. And the last Survivor perk is Helping Hand, and basically, I believe it heals 16 charges. And this perk, what it does, if you cleanse a totem or bless a totem or something like that, when you're healing a survivor, you can effectively give them 4 permanent charges off the healing bar. So basically like a brand new part. I think it's a little bit less than a brand new part for a heal, which on its own sounds really strong, but I actually really like this perk. I think they could probably buff it by a few charges. Maybe that's an insane take. I saw a lot of people saying this was too strong, but I think they could actually buff this one a little bit. Like, I would make it maybe 5 or 6 charges, and because you can only do it once per trial on one survivor, so it can be, I feel like it can really be clutch in certain situations. But other than that, it's just a really nice time saver. You know, you could still run something like We'll Make It with this perk and get like instantly fast heals. But, you know, it's just another healing perk that kind of can be countered. So I think it's actually very fairly balanced. I'd say it's a little bit it's like a little bit weak, and you could probably buff that one a bit, or maybe even buff the activation requirements. But yeah, the Survivor got just so much better perks than Jason, and I don't mind Survivors getting interesting perks, right? I play both Survivor and Killer. I say this all the time, but I just think it feels really rough that Jason kind of got like nothing burger perks, while the random original Survivor got honestly perks that you're probably going to be being ran pretty often now, at least a couple of them. It just felt so backwards for the chapter, because we didn't even get to look at the new Survivor, because, you know, behavior doesn't have them ready yet, which, surprise, surprise. So yeah, Jason's power was great. I really liked it. I picked him up right away, as you can probably see some of the clips in the background, and just started playing him, and I had a pretty good time. I did like his teleport, his movement speed was good. I think his biggest weakness, honestly, is the 110, and you get roughly 5% haste for 25 seconds after jump scaring. So here, kind of 115 for most of the match. I feel like they actually balanced it out pretty fairly, but really it's just pre-running is the biggest thing, because if you try to cut people off with your teleport, you're usually just going to get pre-ran, because you can tell where the killer is by the sounds that he makes. Like, I was predicting where the Jason was going to teleport to most of the time, just because of weird sounds in the fog. And I have to give behavior credit. It's so cool when he goes into his omnipresent evil, because all the fog clouds around, and when you're Jason, you're moving so fast, and you can see like these red mist marks on generators and like footsteps, which is a nod to the Friday the 13th game. Really cool on that part. They did amazing with Jason's power. I'd say Jason for me is like a 7.5 out of 10, because he's not super strong, he's not weak. I think he's actually the definition of like almost a perfectly in the middle killer. I would actually give him buffs. I think he's a little bit weak, and I was still cooking with him, but you know, I think he could actually get a few small buffs. I don't know what they would buff. I would make him 115 and make the haste way less, personally, because I just hate 4.4 killers. The movement speed of just being slow feels so horrible. I would also probably buff his spear charge time, and I would make it so that there's more piles of scrap and maybe more hooks. I want more hooks to spawn in the game anyway, so this would be a perfect excuse. But yeah, honestly, with Jason, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get a map, but you know, maps are a big thing, and because this isn't actually like Jason, I don't think they could do a Camp Crystal Lake map, because this is the Jason universe Jason, which is different from the Friday the 13th Jason. It's a whole big thing when it comes to copyright and all that. So I don't like when people are saying, man, they're too lazy to do a map. I think it was probably they just couldn't. I feel like they could if they wanted to, because this is the 10th anniversary. That was my biggest complaint. So now we've gotten through most of the positives. I probably skipped over some stuff I wanted to talk about, but let's talk about some of the things I was a little upset with, because that is the biggest part of the PTB. I was okay with no map. I was okay with the Survivor not being in, because, you know, if you need more time to make them, you need more time to make them. It's just that simple. There's nothing that can be done about it. But I do hope Jason's perks get more attention, okay? They definitely deserve it, because if you're going to be getting this character, it's going to be for him and not the perks, which I feel like is usually how it goes. But at least with some other killers, you have perks that are somewhat useful. And then for Jason, it's just nothing burger. So I really hope they buff that from the PTB. And I was a little disappointed walking into it, because I was looking through the patch notes, and my eyes were glistening with hope. And to see that they had only changed a few perks by adding the new Survivor, they had only added Jason, and they had done basically nothing else. They fixed like some bugs, but you know, 20 more bugs will pop up with the next patch, so what can you do? So I was really upset to see that they hadn't looked at perks, they hadn't looked at the meta, you know, they hadn't looked at anything super special. I was really disappointed by that because I was hoping for a 10th anniversary. It'd be a good time to kind of shake things up. And I suppose it's still possible that they do that from the PTB because they gave themselves 3 weeks, which is more time than your average PTB to live release. It's just super disappointing. I remember my face kind of folded in on itself, looking a little annoyed because I was like, where's the vigil nerfs, the exhaustion perk nerfs, where's the spine chill buff, you know? I think DBD has been in a really stale, worst meta that it's ever been in, especially for Killer recently, actually over the past almost a year now, I would say. And Killer, I think you can universally agree that way less people want to play Killer, way less people want to hop on Killer, and are getting way less enjoyment out of it. And you can't say it's a skill issue because everyone from the top of the ladder to the bottom is feeling it. And it's like I thought Behavior was actually gonna maybe listen to both sides and actually make some adjustments. Nothing. They didn't do anything. I feel like you can't do that for a 10th anniversary. You can't just do, let's add like the safety character Jason and then nothing else, you know. Let's fix a few bugs, add some more aura customization. They're really cracking down this aura customization. I don't mind it, but I'm like, can we focus on something more important than that? Because they're so obsessed with these auras, and I'm like, this should not be a priority. Like, their weird fixation with auras makes me upset because I'm like, just stop with the auras. I want to see changes soon, okay? Because this game has really had trouble holding my attention on both sides. On Survivor, I'm kind of bored because it's like not too easy, but yeah, it is kind of like I have to run like unique perks once in a while because I just get kind of bored. And then on Killer, you're just going against the same 25 perks over and over and over with nothing else. I think in the PTB, I had a few people. No, I can't even say it. Yeah, everyone was just running the exact same 25 perks. And it's like that gets so old, especially when they're, you know, the most broken, busted perks in the game, and you're just going against that over and over. And then the survivors lose, they cry, they whine, they make up excuses after they were running the most busted perks. It's like, I feel like it's such a letdown. Hopefully Behavior does something in between that time, besides Jason's animations and all that, because we need a shake up. We just need all the strong perks on the Survivor. I'm only specifying the Survivor side because the Survivor perks the strong ones have basically gone unchanged for forever, and the Killer perks have steadily gotten nerfed. So it's like, I think it's time that we see that for both sides instead of just one. I don't know, it just feels like Survivor, like not even Survivor, actually yeah, it feels like Survivor just keeps getting fed more and more and more and more, and Killer just keeps, like, Behavior has now basically made it very much proven that they only care about the casual survivors and not the Killer, because 4 people equals more money from 4 people, and survivors on average spend way more on skins because they think this is a fashion show game. And you know, it's like, I don't know. It's so demoralizing to know that when you have 2 sides in the game, you're on one, you play both sides, and just, you like both sides, and seeing one side getting favored over the other is like, it's almost it's the epitome of a letdown. You can't really do that in a game where you have one side and the other, because you're just going to alienate all the players that play both, or one side specifically. And it's pretty blatant too. Like, I feel like the only people that are actually saying this game is still like both sides are catered to, or that it's actually Killer-sided, are people that are joking, or they just joined the game 5 hours ago. They don't know how to play the game, they don't know how to loop, they don't know how to do a generator properly. I feel like those are actually the only people, because ask all the comp players, ask all the top streamers, ask anybody that's somewhat intelligent, and they will all give you pretty much the same answer. Besides the other half that says, oh, this game is efficiency-sided, which, yeah, because there's 4 survivors, it's going to be more efficient, you know, for them. So yeah, it is survivor-sided, so they basically just agreed, but in a different way. And so that's why, yeah, I was just really disappointed with this patch, because like the Jason part, you know, they killed it. I'd say give him some buffs. I'd say he needs some nice number and quality of life buffs. There's a lot they can definitely adjust to make him stronger. I already see so many people complaining that he's too strong, and I feel like those people are genuinely idiots, because my first match against him, I was already learning how to play against him, and I feel like I did okay considering it was my first match ever. Just, I don't know, it's like everyone in this community has to get everything nerfed before we actually give it a chance to like actually learn how to play against it. And that's where it comes back to the casual survivor mains, is that I don't know why Behavior has fully committed to catering to them, because they're never going to be happy. Like, yeah, they'll keep making money, but they're always gonna just keep asking for more and more and more and more nerfs, more buffs to Survivor. They're just gonna keep, like, with that sort of player, you're never gonna be able to make them happy until the game quite literally completely plays itself for them, 100%. If they want a game like that, they should go play a gacha mobile game, not the competitive, high-stakes, quote-unquote horror game that is Dead by Daylight. I feel like behavior is catering and attracting to just completely wrong group of players. And if you don't have a steady, strong foundation of players and you only have these casual, whiny, entitled babies, your game is going to literally just fall apart. It already kind of is. They're gaining in player numbers, but the player satisfaction isn't going up. It's been 10 years, but the player satisfaction isn't really going up. They've made some good changes over the years, you know. I don't hate behavior. I don't hate Dead by Daylight, but I just think it's really questionable the route that they're going here is all. And I feel like they could do better. And this patch just kind of showed me like that my worst fears were confirmed, that they are complacent and just letting things sit in how they are. And I don't think that's good. I think everyone's fed up right now. You know, everyone that matters, I should say. And it's probably time to try some new things. Because, yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there. So, yeah, my takeaways, is that everything? I like Jason, you know, I like the Survivor's perks, but I just did not like the patch. I think it's super horribly underwhelming for a 10th anniversary patch. We should have gotten more, 100%. Hopefully behavior does something. I just want to see top perks. Like, I don't even need a full, every single perk gets changed. I just want to see the top perks get heavily nerfed so that we can get an actual bit of variety with our stuff. It takes away from the fun so much when you're playing against the same 10 perks. It really does. That is one thing I'll say about these new Survivor perks, is that while a lot of people are saying that they're busted, I think they're actually interesting, and they add new concepts, and just like they are mixes of stuff that already exists. But I still think it's so much better than what we have in the game right now, and like balance-wise. So that's why I like the new. I'm such a big advocate for the new perks, because I'm like, well, at least they're actually interesting. You know, they're not really as broken as half the stuff we already have in the game. So yeah, I'd say if you haven't played the PTB and you haven't seen much on it, just keep your expectations low, because we're not really gonna get much that's actually interesting. And yeah, thanks for sitting here and listening to this cynical man yap for almost half an hour. See you later.